they doing? Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me
That was way cooler in my head. We've got lots of money, everyone. We've sold some players. We're in the black. I thought we'd celebrate. There's just hundreds of fake monies around my desk now for me to clean up. Not my best intro. Welcome back to Racing. Just everywhere. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 19 of Park 2 Primera. We are back here with Racing. We've had a youth intake. The transfer window's closed. We've done some business. All in all, it's been quite a busy time since you were last here, so lots to get into today. Now, first things first, let's get some bad news out the way early. Mahika, kind of injured for the rest of the season. Yeah, of course, last time we left things, it was the end of January. We've played 9 games since then. It's been pretty spaced out for the second half of the year. Unfortunately for us, Mahika out for the next 3 weeks. I say the rest of the year. It's not the rest of the year at all, is it? It's the next 5 games. I'm being very dramatic. That is the bad news. There is some good news, though. And well, that good news is that we made some signings to end the transfer window, and I think we've solved the centre-mid issue. If we look at the outs firstly, Cedric has left us, as has Lopez. They were 2 transfers we talked about last time. Meanwhile, on the ins, as you can see here, we have signed 3 players from Sporting. Bruno Paz, the first of these, he has signed for £20,000, a very good box-to-box midfielder. His average rating hasn't been that great, but 2 assists in 8. And if you ask me, he is a remarkably solid and well-rounded player. He can't finish anything, but as a box-to-box midfielder who's very good defensively, I think he's great. And while his partner in crime is another player from Sporting's B team in Rodrigo Fernandez. Now, we talked about this guy last time. Really cool thing about these 2 players is they were both playing for Sporting's B team together. So when we signed them both, they came in with this understanding already. They already had a link between them on the tactics screen, which was really nice. You can see here he has 1 goal to his name in 9 games. The combined outlay for these 2 players was £50,000, which, when you consider we sold £3 million worth of players this year, wasn't too much to spend on players. And while the other player we picked up was Chimiti, also from Sporting, on loan. His contract was expiring at the end of the year. I thought we might be able to pull a sneaky, get him in temporarily, then sign him when his contract was up at the end of the year. Girona had other ideas. Yeah, he's going to them in 3 months. So that plan went really well. Now, of course, last episode we took on Atletico Madrid in an 11-goal thriller. If you missed it for whatever reason, I do recommend going and watching it, even though the result is on screen now. As you can see, since then we've played a fair bit of football, although it's been relatively spaced out, and it's been a bit of a mixed bunch. We started things off with 2 great wins. The first was against Real Zaragoza. We won that one 3-1, and then we beat Atletico's B team 2-0. So we got a little bit of revenge against Atleti, I suppose. Following on from that, we scored a load of goals. A 4-4 draw against Barcelona. When we played them earlier in the year, I think it was a similarly high-scoring game. They were playing a 3-4-3. And it seemed like they couldn't really defend with this system, but they could score with it. So as a result, it was a thriller. It was exciting. They did score in the last minute after we'd scored in the 90th minute. I'd be lying if I was to say when we went 4-3 up, I wasn't over-excitably celebrating. A point at the end of the day isn't that bad. You can see we also beat Marbella and Valencia. Mahika getting some goals. Bicho getting some goals. Hardy also getting his name on the score sheet. Unfortunately, that 4-1 win marked a bit of a false dawn. I thought at that point, maybe we could push for automatic promotion. Maybe it was an option. Hasn't really happened since. Ibar a 2-1 defeat. Pablo Torres scored. Didn't bail us out. The next game against Real Sporting, they're down towards the bottom. We lost this one 2-0. We were rubbish. And then against Cartagena, I thought this would be the game to bounce back in. We'd get a win here. We would be fine. In the end, we were kind of rubbish. We did, however, recently beat Castilla 1-0. Chimeti getting his first ever goal for the club since he joined us on loan. Given the fact I've not been able to sign him permanently, I've not been trying to play him as much, which might be a bit rude to Girona, who he's going to be playing for next year. But they're a divisional rival. Why would I play this player I've got loaned in just to develop him to play for them? I mean, I'm not playing him much. The bad news is he is actually developing. So that game plan isn't really going to plan. And while with all those results covered, here is how the league table looks. We are currently in 6th place, although it's worth noting there are many, many teams close behind us. And Ponferradina, remember them? Promoted with us last year, predicted to be in 21st place. They are currently in 9th. So maybe last year we were just in a really, really strong division. Maybe that's why we struggled last year to pull away from them. You can see here, though, a bit of a gap emerging between ourselves and the teams in the automatic promotion spots. Right now, there is 11 games left of the season. We have got a game in hand, so maybe we could capitalise on that slightly. Ultimately, however, I would be very, very happy and pleasantly surprised, I think, if we were to make the playoffs this year. I think that would be a really great achievement. You can see Mexica's doing well on the goal-scoring chart, but of course, he's injured for the next 3 weeks, so we're going to be missing him. Pablo Torre's been huge for us. You can see that with the assists, with the player of the matches. Bicho, Torre and Mexica, absolutely top draw for us. They were carrying us single-handedly. And, well, unfortunately, obviously, Mexica's out injured. If he was fully fit, this is kind of the style 11 that I've started to settle on. We've got Herrero, Rojas, Williams, Carrasa, Machado in goal. He's still really developing. He's not performing on the pitch, but he is getting better. I find it difficult to justify dropping him. As I mentioned, Fernandez and Paz have come into the middle of the team. And, well, until we went on that little run of defeats, I felt like they'd been big game changers. Of course, the centre-mid position this year has been one that's been a bit of a mess. They are two players who, to be honest, neither of them's particularly attacking, but as two midfielders, you're going to ask to do some defending. In the case of Paz, you're going to expect him to get up and down the pitch. They've worked really, really well. They've been like fantastic business, but potentially two of the best transfers we've made, I think. And as I already mentioned, the likes of Bicho, Torre, Mexica, and Hardy to a slightly lesser extent, they've started to step up as well. And I think that shows when you look at the goal scoring kind of here. You can see Bicho has 16 all of a sudden. Mexica has 24, which in 29 appearances is obviously exactly what we're looking for from our solo striker. Torre, 7 goals, 14 assists. Again, that's a pretty good contribution. If we compare that to previous years, he's eclipsed his previous tally 4 assists. 7 player of the matches, though. What I would say is this year, his average rating is lower. In games where Torre doesn't turn up, he really does vanish. Although maybe that is, just down to the fact we are playing against stronger teams this year who are just better sides. So anyway, today's opposition is going to be Mallorca. They sit top of the league. They are going to be a proper test for us. It's going to be very difficult, but before we get into that, something more exciting, I think. Today, we had our youth intake. Yes, the day of the match, the youth intake happened. It's like the football manager gods were trying to make my job a little easier. And well, when we look through this, there's 3 players who look very, very good at the top. One player who I think's worth mentioning is Lee here. He could end up being an okay right back. He just needs to sort out, obviously, his potential. Needs to develop a little bit everywhere, but he's not what I'm really. I don't know why I've mentioned Lee. I think it's because he's the only player who isn't Spanish in this year's intake. Let's talk about the better players, not just the player who has some okay ability with rubbish potential. Right, Linus Lindgren. We'll go from bottom to top. Wow. Is the word I'd use to describe this guy. Ball-winner midfielder, ready-made, left-footed, 15 years old, 17 teamwork, 17 work rate, 20 aggression. Also has really good tackling and marking. Definitely needs to improve a little bit, but I mean, at 15 years old, he looks absolutely top drawer. I am very, very excited about Linus here. The kind of player who, I don't want to say it too loudly, he could end up featuring in the first team. If not this year, certainly next year. Good defensively. Mentals are really, really good for the ball-winning midfielder role. I'm excited by him, but there's 2 more players I'm probably even more excited about. And well, we'll talk about Jose Manuel Aguilera first. That's definitely not how you say your name. I'm sorry, Jose. There's no way, Jose, I'm saying that last name correctly. He is a winger. He's a rapid winger as well. Ambitious personality, some okay determination. Yeah, he looks really, really good and really, really quick. He's naturally a striker, actually. I don't know why it started highlighting him as a winger. I think if he can improve his finishing, his composure, he could end up being a good little forward. Of course, he's only 15 years old. He's got loads of time to develop. He's not as ready-made as the other 2 players that we're going to show today, but he is obviously a good player, lots of potential, many, many reasons to be excited about him. And when I mentioned Linus as one of these 2 players, he's kind of ready-made. This guy, Jorge Calderon, even more ready-made. This guy, I mean, prepare yourself. Just take a breath. I'm struggling to get my words out. I'm so excited about him. Here he is, Jorge. He's 15. He's got 17 determination. Now, let's ignore the fact he's got 1 jumping reach and he's very, very small and very, very light. He is a super insane technical player. Could he be the long-term solution of Trequartista out on the left when Bicho goes on to greener pastures? Quite possibly. He is nuts. I love the fact he's got good bravery. He's going to go in for some challenges. He's not going to pull out when he's dribbling and a defender comes crunching in. But I think the 15 first touch, 15 technique, 14 passing, 15 vision, 15 flair, that's the headline, isn't it? Wow. He's good. I mean, the question is, where do we train him to play? And whilst his finishing is a little subpar, I do think playing him as a wider playmaker could be the option. Just to kind of put it into perspective, I guess, a little bit, let's just compare him to Torre. And you can see, a bit better technically, a little bit better in the air for what it's worth. I think that is just the heading propping him up. But obviously a long way to go in the physicals. That said, he is 4 years his junior. So Jorge, you look exceptional. The kind of player who I wouldn't mind giving a bit of first-team football to if the opportunity arises. Maybe, just maybe, he can follow in the footsteps of Martinez, who of course has been playing with the first team a lot this year, and really develop into a player that we can use in the first team on the regular. Yeah, remember the name, Jorge Calderon, one for the future. But anyway, today's game is against Mallorca, and it is a big one. They are sat top of the table on 61 points. We are currently 12 points behind them. I want to lie to myself and say we could catch them. Let's be a bit realistic. We can't catch them all here. We would be very fortunate, I think, if we were to even be in the playoffs comfortably come the end of the year. I do envisage this being a season where maybe it comes down to the wire a little bit. Earlier on this year, we had a really good start, and then just before Christmas, we fell off a little bit. I do think that was down to the fixture schedule that we had. Obviously, the second half of the season, it's the same fixture schedule. So we've had some nice wins. We've got ourselves into a good position. The key moment really for us now is to not start slipping down, to not kind of find ourselves falling down the pecking order. We've been in the playoffs for so long. I want to be there come the end of the year. And while this is the team I think we're going to go with for today's game, Mojica is out injured. Kabir, I'm still putting some blind faith in, although I would say now, I've been pretty disappointed by him this year. I've given him fairly even opportunities, both as a striker and as a player out on the right-hand side. At 31 years old now, he's not a bad player, don't get me wrong, but he is starting to decline a little bit. It's maybe a cause for concern. He's the kind of player who, if I got an okay offer in the summer for, probably wouldn't hesitate to move him on. But today, maybe he's got a chance to change my view of him. Maybe today, he goes out there and plays superbly. The rest of the team looks, of course, very, very familiar. Herrero's back in the team. He had some issues with injuries over the last few months. He's got back to full fitness and been very, very reliable for us in the team. And of course, it's going to be Fernandez and Paz playing together in the centre of the midfield. Your first chance to see the new duo in action. I'm hoping they're going to have a really solid game and hopefully wrestle control of the match. Neither of them are the kind of most technically gifted players. I feel like we allow the players higher up the pitch to do that for us. But what they do offer is just really, really solid defensive play. Two players who are both capable, when we're out of possession, of wrestling the ball back and getting it forward to the more creative players. And they've definitely made an impact. I compare them to the likes of Just Andy and obviously Martinez, who we played at centre mid. Players who just didn't really get going. Even players like Di Vicente and Recco, who of course we sold in January. They've come in for a fraction of the price really of what we sold players on for and been monumental for us. Anyway, we're up to half an hour in this game already. Nothing's happening. There are no highlights. Suddenly it's 33 minutes gone, and whilst a draw would be good against Mallorca, who are top of the league, I want to show a little bit of intent to go out there and win, and we could have a half without a highlight. I mean, every year in Football Manager, you have an episode as a YouTuber where there is no highlights for the entire game. I don't think I've had that match yet this year in any series that we've done. Maybe today's the day. I'm going to hope it's not, and well, it's not going to be. We're on the offensive. Bicho forward. Kabir was under it but couldn't get there. Reece Williams now with the ball for us. Gives it back to Carassa. And, Kabir, can he get there? Can he score? He can, but he's offside. I threatened to sell him in the summer, and suddenly he scores like that. I mean, it was a really good finish as well. Why can't he do that when he's onside? Oh, dear. Who put the ball through, by the way? The ball here, was it Carassa with the ball through? This was an insane... Okay, he is way further offside than I realised. I can't give him credit for the finish because he was that far off. But look, we've shown some attacking intent. And well, we might be about to show it again. We've got a throw in. Carassa Hardy. Pablo's fouled. Referee, you've got to give that. Right, Bicho, go get the ball. He's been at his penalty-taking best. I mean, I'm saying that like it's going to be given. It's not been given yet. It has been given now. Right, come on. Bicho's going to take it. He doesn't miss. Can he put us ahead slightly against the run of play? Although this half we've looked like the better team. Bicho on his left peg, hits it into the bottom corner. Make no mistake, the Bicho of last season is back. 17 goals for the season. I feel like that total has crept up out of nowhere over the last few months. But yeah, really good penalty into the bottom corner. The keeper went the right way. He wasn't going to stop that though. And now, well, Mallorca, they've got to come on the offensive, and they've actually made a fair few subs here, it would seem. Very, very early, I suppose, in reaction to the fact we've got the goal. Nice header won there by Williams at the back. Still not happy about the fact he's not going to be here for us next year, Williams. I'm gutted he's gone to Leganés. Oh my word. Machado? Did he save it? He put the attacker off. He did his job. What should I do with Machado? Comment question of the day. What would you do with Machado? Because I don't know. Rodrigo tries to get it forward. Rodrigo, of course, being Rodrigo Fernandez, the new kid on the block. Hardy, go inside if you need to. Williams, Hardy, Williams, Hardy. Go back to Williams. Keep the pattern going. Bicho, switch of play was nice there, but Bicho gets caught out. And well, now Cardona is in behind. Huge tackle there. Who was that who put in the tackle? Who was that man? I think it was either Herrero or Rojas. It may have been Rojas. I think it was. I mean, an hour gone here. Let's make some changes. Hardy has been poor out on the wing. Let's bring in Cabans on for some young pace out on the right-hand side. Elsewhere in the team, Kabir's been poor today, so we'll bring in Chimiti. Chimiti did score against Castilla last game. And whilst I've joked about the fact I don't want to develop a rival team's player for them. Oh my word, is that in? It is! Well, I've brought on Chimiti to do the business. In the end, Williams has done the business. And how did that go over the line? Like, the ball looked unsure about whether or not it wanted to cross the line here. Williams heads it. Keeper, the keeper's dropped that, to be frank. And, well, it's not even hit the back of the net. It has P-rolled over the line. We are 2 goals to the good here against the team top of the league. This is what we want to see going into the end of the season. Let's show a little bit of fight. Let's show that we can do it against the big boys, because I am anticipating playoffs to end the year. That's what, my minimum expectation now at this point. We're going to take on teams like Mallorca who go in as favourites against a weaker team, and we need to be able to show them up, just like Bicho had a chance to show up Herrera there. The ball was gifted to him. Sadly, he couldn't find the back of the net. But, it remains 2-0. You know what? I wouldn't normally do this, but they are top of the league. Let's just start time wasting. Elsewhere, Albacete, who are one of our playoff rivals, they are losing, so that is a beneficial result in our favour. Carrassa, loads of space here to pick out the right pass. Can he get it in? He does. Pablo is there. What a lovely goal. Pablo Torre, goal number 8 for the season. Doesn't get that many, of course, across the whole season at centre attacking mid. So it's always nice to see him score. And, well, Carrassa was just given so much time and space there, and he hasn't matched his assist total from last year, and I don't think he will. But he's got an assist there, has Mr. Assister, out right back. And at 3-0, I think it flatters us a little bit, but I'm not going to complain. We've been good. A reason for optimism, a reason to wear a smile, which is what I need. Of course, I mentioned it in the intro. Money problems are no longer a thing. I wanted to talk about how great our finances are, and then they score just to make me not feel quite as comfortable. There's no way they scored 2 more in the last 2 minutes, is there? It is a bit of a shame that with all the money that we have, we've not been able to reinvest any more of it into kind of wage budget or transfer budget, but I am rubbing my hands together thinking about next year when all the debt is paid off, just how much money we might have to spend. We've gone straight into another highlight here. Is Chimiti going to get there? He is. Can he finish it? No. Near post save by Herrera. We had been struggling for goals a little bit. We'd gone through this phase where we drew against Barcelona 4-4, 3-1 win after that, a 4-1 win after that, and then we scored 2 in the next 3, and I think two in the last 4, or 3 in the last 4. The goals have dried up. They've reappeared today, and I'm pretty blooming delighted about it, because I was a little bit worried that going against the team who were top of the league, we were going to come back here. I was going to have this big smile on my face, be talking about this youth intake, the transfers that I'm a big fan of, and then we were just going to get ripped apart by Mallorca. I mean, they could still get another here as Ortega is through. And I mean, I don't know what the defending was there. I wasn't paying attention. Where was the defence? Can anyone tell me what happened here with our defence? I mean, Rojas just goes charging out and then Williams decides to just play everyone on. I mean, the finish at the end of it is great, and I'm hoping it's not going to come back to bite us. There's 30 seconds left. It's not going to happen. It's going to be fine. Please. Okay, it is going to be fine. A 3-2 win. Not quite as emphatic as perhaps it should have been or could have been, but it is 3 points against a massive, massive rival and away from home as well. That is absolutely sensational. Torre picks up a Man of the Match award to add to his collection. Barcelona B and Castilla can't go into the playoffs, so right now we are in the playoffs by 5 points and we have a game in hand. I mean, if we win the game in hand, we're only, 5 or 6 points away from Mallorca in second? That's silly talk. That is, look, let's not get carried away just yet. Ponferradina's unbeaten away run ends. So yeah, they lost a bit of ground on us. That makes our result even better. But with 10 games left of the season, I'm feeling pretty good about the playoffs at this point. As you can see here, it's a fairly packed schedule coming up. We've got the likes of Osasuna, who have been very disappointing this year, who are down in 17th. Fuenlabrada are now top. We've got them away from home. I'll hope we can repeat the heroics of today. That said, our final 2 games of the season are against Real Oviedo, away from home, a big rival, and also Atletico B. I think those are 2 games that we have to come back for next time. You can see here, first rivalry against Real Oviedo. We didn't cover them earlier on in the year. So tomorrow, assuming there's stuff relying on it and riding on it, we will be back for a double header that will be crunch time in the season that could see us get to the playoffs, fall out of the playoffs, or, dare I say it under bated breath, maybe push for automatic promotion. But probably not. Probably not. But anyway, that is going to wrap up everything from me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode as always. I will leave you with this glorious view of our bank balance, which, I mean, it looks pretty rosy. I have just noticed that with all the youth prospects I'm now signing, I'm spending massively over the budget for next year. But we'll worry about that later. That's next season's problem. If you've enjoyed today's video, do drop a like on it. I'll see you guys again soon. And until next time, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.